For 21 years, Rebecca received the disability pension, claiming she was blind. It's a gift from me to you.
We don't need it, sir.
In today's video, we're gonna have a look at an old lady who turned out to be a massive scammer. Probably the last person you guys would think of. Poor old little grandma over here has been committing fraud. How has she done it though? She pretended to be blind and stole hundreds of thousands of dollars from, well, you guys, the taxpayer. That money could have gone elsewhere, people that would actually need that money, but instead this old lady has started a little scam business quite late into her life. Now, I've got to warn you, in this first clip, she may look pretty harmless, but in fact, she's stolen hundreds of thousands of dollars. And this camera team hunt her down and try to ask her the big hitting questions, like, but why?
Hello, Rebecca. You've been up to your old schemes again, haven't you? Shut up. Crooks come in all shapes, sizes and ages, like grandmother Rebecca Assey.
Please don't talk to me.
While you're hard at work paying taxes, this 62-year-old is stealing them. Big time.
If you're stealing from welfare, you're stealing from your fellow Australians.
And I'm sure you would have to steal to get such a nice dressing gown as that. Whoa, Rebecca, you don't look a day over 70. What's that? She's only 62. What the fuck? And it shows. It must be all the poor stress this old lady is under from running her business. So sad. And I don't know why, but it always seems to be Australia. Like, I would generally say about 80% of the videos in which I make have been in Australia. I suppose anyone watching this video knows why. Is it easier to scam for welfare in Australia? Like, how does it really go down?
Cheated on welfare since 1990, while running a how-to-rort Centrelink school for other fraudsters. And when police finally came knocking, they found nearly $250,000 in cash in her Housing Commission home. That's the home you're paying for.
Jesus Christ. I don't know why, but it just seems like every time we make a video on these, they go up a level. Because I always say, this is the worst one I've ever seen. But it's true every time. So not only is she committing her own fraud in which they found $250,000 in her safe in the house that you guys are paying for, which in all honesty would be bad enough in itself, wouldn't it? I mean, that's only what they've gathered now. I mean, if she's been doing this since 1990, I wonder how much money she's accumulated over the years in which they didn't have her on their radar. Could you imagine? But on top of all of that, she's running a business, almost like one of those sketchy businesses that you see on TikTok. Join my course to follow in and see how I make $500,000 a year. She's accumulated a little business through doing this, and I'm sure she probably takes a cut of their earnings too. Almost like a pyramid scheme. Whose grandma is this?
Her latest incredible fraud in a moment. But first, a recap. Behold, you're watching a modern-day miracle. For 21 years, Rebecca received the disability pension, claiming she was blind. It's a gift from me to you.
We don't need it, sir.
You don't need it? But no, she never had a white cane while taking sunny walks with family and friends.
Bro, she wearing that dressing gown like every single... Did she look, with all the money you have to spare, Rebecca, at least buy some other clothes, please. Are you wearing the same dressing gown? Could you imagine the stink on that? Could you imagine how bad that dressing gown smells? I feel like the other gift should have been a Lynx Africa box set for fucking Rebecca. She stinks. And guys, let's not jump the gun here. Maybe she got better. Maybe all she needed was a good sleep, and now she feels, oh my god, my eyes, they're so much better now. Who knows? Blindness is one of those ones that at least makes a little bit more sense. A lot of the fakers like to do these really weird and rare cases where it's easily seen that it's a physical symptom, you know, like cancer and stuff. But after a while, you're going to see some physical symptoms. I guess blindness is one of those hard ones, because how can you really tell, right? If you go to an eye doctor, you can basically just be like, well, yeah, I can't see. I mean, I'm sure there's some tests there to see that their retinas or whatever aren't that deteriorated, so it doesn't probably make a whole lot of sense. Are we just taking their word for it?
Operating the mobile phone, getting in the car, emptying the garbage. She did it all. Yes, she even had a driver's license. No cane, no seeing eye dog, no glasses.
Really, is she not going to change the dressing gown? I know we're watching a pretty depressing video here of someone scamming with money, but I can't help but notice she's wearing the same dressing gown still. That's, I feel like, the more important question here. You've done remarkably well
Remarkably well.
for someone who is blind.
Yeah, what do you want?
And let me repeat that, 21 years she claimed the disability support pension thanks to you.
You said your doctors in Lebanon told you that you were permanently blind,
Yeah.
that it was a hopeless case. Is it hopeless?
Don't talk to me,
No.
please.
How?
It was a little tougher here, but after an initial Aussie knockback, she shopped around and eventually found a doc who said she was blind.
You right walking back? Do you need some help?
Yes, Rebecca had been having a lend of us. But now, a bigger rort has been uncovered since I reported that first blind sighting of us taxpayers. I feel like the issue as well with this going on, sure, they see some of the money. She probably won't get any of that, obviously, but it's like the money that she's been stealing for 21 years, you're probably never going to see. She's never going to really pay that back. You can do it in such a small fee that, I mean, she's already pretty fucking old. She could just do like $10 a month or something on paying back on what she already owes. And unfortunately, I feel like it's scenarios like that in which it makes it sound almost appealing to some people because you can take and take and take. And when it comes back to actually paying them, it's really not even that bad. You know, you can just say you can't afford that much. And then by the time she does die, she probably would have only paid back like $8,000 or something, which is absolutely criminal that you don't even get any prison time for this type of stuff. In Australia anyway, I'm assuming. I've never once heard one of these stories in which they went to prison, put it that way. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I'm assuming in the US it might be a little bit different. Without the shackles of blindness, Rebecca has not a care in the world and is ready for another big day out, possibly buying a toothbrush because she's facing time in the slammer for this latest indiscretion. You see, Rebecca has just pleaded guilty to dealing with money reasonably believed to be the proceeds of crime and conspiring with others to rip off Centrelink. The Centrelink cheat worked hand in hand with her now dead husband, Jamal Alali.
Jamal Alali. Really just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? Jamal Alali.
On quite a scheme. Their modest public housing abode doubled as a TAFE for tricksters. The pair would complete Centrelink forms for fraudsters, giving them advice on seeking out doctors who would turn a blind eye to their cheating ways. Sometimes she'd even go to the doctors with them, in case the GP asked too many questions. This woman was a star student. After graduating with a fistful of Rebecca ideas, she told Centrelink her daughter had ADHD, when the child didn't, and subsequently got 66 grand in payment.
What? I don't really understand. Like, how do you get money from ADHD? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm sure it's not nice to live with. I understand that. But blindness, ADHD. I just didn't realize ADHD was also one of those things in which you can get money for. That's absolutely wild for her kid. I mean, how do you even explain that, right? Like, a lot of people, when they're like 8 years old, think that their kids have that's wild. That's absolutely wild. You can get $66,000 from faking ADHD. What the fuck?
We have seen organised criminals ripping off money in the childcare sector, ripping off money from the government and therefore from their fellow Australians.
I mean, they act shocked every time this happens, but like I mentioned previously, this seems to happen quite frequently in Australia. Just a quick Google search or YouTube search even, it seems to always be Australia. If it's that much of a pandemic, should you change maybe some of the ways in which you give people money? Maybe you need to get 2 opinions from 2 different I don't know, bro. I'm just a YouTuber who uploads MP4 files. But something surely has to be done here in which you change your policies to make it harder for these types of people to wiggle their way in and just start claiming money for absolutely everything.
Minister for Social Services Paul Fletcher points out the repercussions these gangs have on all of us.
Every dollar that goes to somebody who's not entitled to it is a dollar that could be used to put vital life-saving drugs onto the pharmaceutical benefit scheme.
Well, yeah, that just goes without saying, obviously, right? Like the money that they're stealing, in which it could have gone to somebody else that would have actually needed it, doesn't go to them now. It goes to her. To maybe buy more dressing gums or something. I don't know, bro.
But back to Rebecca, who didn't have a hankering for a Big Mac, but she didn't mind their toilets. Here she would meet her Centrelink frauding students away from prying eyes. After giving them the fraudulent advice they needed, she demanded from them 1.5 kilos of sweet grapes, or perhaps 2 kilos. No, not real grapes. That was code. 1.5 kilos was $1,500. 2 kilos was $2,000.
Could you imagine just going into the McDonald's bathroom and there's like a college course going on? What the McFuck is going on here? Bro, I'd be a little bit concerned if I went to go to the bathroom and there's some old lady there teaching people on how to scam people. Like, this is the scene of like a comedy movie, bro. Like, what's going on?
You see, the cops were listening in, and they soon discovered what all the code words meant. When the federal police came knocking, they found 5 different mobile phones she used to communicate with her customers. And in that bedroom, they found a safe with more than $244,000 cash inside. And the you-know-what hit the fan at number 5. So just as well she bought the 18-pack.
Wherever there's a big pot of money, you're going to find people working in the shadows in an organised way, criminals going after that money.
With $180 billion being spent on welfare, Minister for Human Services Michael Keenan says the government is prosecuting people such as this greedy granny like never before.
In the last 4 years, we've managed to save $3 billion. That's because we ramped up our compliance efforts when we came to office.
Well, honestly, that's good to hear. I mean, this video here was a few years ago. Some of the other ones have been like 10 years ago. So sure, I'm sure they've done things now to implement some changes around there to now give maybe tougher sentences. But look, I'm going to be perfectly honest. If I looked up this story afterwards and I found that she never even went to prison, I really wouldn't be surprised. I also wouldn't be surprised if she's only paid back like a few $1,000s. Like nothing really shocks me anymore in terms of them trying to pay them back. I think like you and me, we both see this as an actual crime that should be punishable with an actual sentence. You're taking money away from people that need it. And in this case, it's far worse because then she's going on even further than that and teaching people on how to do this.
In the end, federal agents worked out Assie's students defrauded taxpayers of just over $137,000. At least 6 of her students have been charged and 2 jailed. Rebecca, can you hear me? Last time you were blind. Are you deaf and dumb now? Hello?
Nice. I reckon that should be that punishment. You just get the news crew every day for like 16 years.
Rebecca, you dumb blind bitch.
Holy hell, bro. He didn't get old back, did he? I mean, it's understandable. Like, it's quite literally him who's paying for this house right now that she's staying in, right? I would be pretty mad as well.
Can you hear me? She'll soon be hearing a magistrate, though. Currently on bail, she's yet to find out her fate for masterminding her latest scheme.
We'll find you, we'll catch you, we'll prosecute you, and you may well go to jail.
And we'll kill you. I mean, yeah, you might go to jail. Who knows?
But in the meantime, she continues to live in her publicly funded home.
Then apparently she got a sentence in July, but like I said, that was a few years ago. If you guys know any updates on this story, leave it down in the comments down below. Let everyone know. Did she get sentenced? Anyway, boys and girls, I feel like it's always important to make these videos as it really shows the worst of the worst people, even worse than the fakers on TikTok that actually go out of their way to steal money, even though I feel like those fakers on TikTok will probably grow up to be something like this as well. But anyway, boys and girls, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit the like button, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you all in tomorrow's video. Bye-bye.